Hi, I'm Avon, and in this podcast of the Business Octopus, I speak with Tom Moore, founder of With You With Me, someone who got $40 million of funding, expanded to 7 countries, and is now part owner of a New York investment bank. In this conversation, we get quite deep and quite personal. Have a listen.
So I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. So I think we met, might have been like I want to say 2017 or 2018, right. Online.
Yep.
You were doing With You With Me. You needed someone to train some people on Salesforce.
Yeah.
And then when we first got talking, we discovered that you were 7 RAR, I was 5 RAR. Whilst we'd never crossed paths, we know all the same people in the same place at the same time. And then through that journey, fast forward to today, and we'll get into it a bit more, but my understanding is that you raised $40 million of funding, rolled out to 7 countries, and now you live here in Florida, and part owner of a New York investment bank. So pretty wild and crazy journey. And I think that, for the most people that sort of listen to my podcast, we try to talk to people who have been where they want to go, who have done what they want to do. And, I like that you're not necessarily super flashy about that. Like, you don't get on the social medias and flash the...
I don't even have shoes on.
Yeah. Well, neither do I, so that's good. So yeah, how did you get to where you are?
I wish I was better about how I helped you the first time we met. Yeah. I just want to put that out there.
Okay. In what sense? Well, I feel like at that time...
I was really busy. I wasn't grounded. I wouldn't pass a CEO test, And, you're a really solid entrepreneur. And, I couldn't care for entrepreneurship in a sense. So, I don't think I'm glad that we got to work with you. I wish I made it better. Yeah.
Well, how...
Probably, and that's exactly where I am now.
Right.
Trying to make it better. Yep.
By doing a podcast?
No, like when you said how did you get here? It's like I'm trying to make it better. I would like people to use distribution to grow and not rely on a lot of capital. And I think eventually the best distribution partners will be other entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, I guess, before we get into much of that is how did you get, the difference between being an officer to running a business? Because I think a lot of times, I had to break a few military mindsets, right. And then some served me well and some served me very poorly. So one of those being, more about the team and that is still very good, but also being selfless. Now, I think it helps to be a little bit selfish in some circumstances because ultimately you are trying to build an asset that grows, but almost to your detriment sometimes you tend to be more about, like caring more for others than you care for yourself. And I think sometimes that doesn't work on the balance sheet realistically between people. So
really,
what's your thoughts on that?
As in going from being an officer to being a business owner?
Yeah.
Oh. I think I was a pretty shitty soldier. But I was good at field. I think I was a pretty shitty officer. And I was okay at tactics. And I think I was a pretty shitty entrepreneur. But I was good at selling. So I don't know if I was good at any of it. I think if there's no war or deployment going on, you don't like guys like me because I don't like convention. But on a simple level, like I found the transition from officer to business owner extremely hard, like really hard. How have you found it?
Well, I bought a franchise the first time around. And we kind of like did all the systems and processes and cleaned things up, and it's starting to feel like a reverse interview. But if I tell you a bit of the background, that kind of explains how I got to where I am.
Yeah. Might help me.
So I bought a cafe, ran that for 4 years. Then all of a sudden the gas project in Darwin wound up, and then pretty much every customer's cut down by half. A lot of the major government workers moved out of the city, and so we had to try and kind of like keep it alive a bit, which didn't happen and ended up failing. And but before that, I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, trying to get things working, and then going from dealing with all men, rough, tough in the infantry, through to 16-year-old girls, trying to get them to turn up to work in uniform and fill out the timesheets correctly and all that sort of stuff. And then going through the whole, working stupid hours, then building systems, because I put facial recognition scanners in, I put, task management systems, and then that's how Relevate grew, was that people wanted subsystems and things like that. Anyway, the point, I guess, is that some things serve you well, turning up, being, sort of just going anyway. And I think that's kind of what you were alluding to, was that when you don't necessarily have to be good at everything, but you just have to be there, present, and turn up. So I guess, again, this feels like a reverse interview.
I'm sorry.
I think your skill is getting other people to talk.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Good question. I don't know. Why do you think that?
I did. Like, if you really want me to answer your question on officer to business owner, like I'm bad at both of them. Like, I was a bad officer. There's a lot of things that said I wasn't a bad officer, but I'm not fit to be in a superstructure of
a big machine.
Yeah, and it was really upsetting learning that, because I didn't see that coming. Right, that was really upsetting. And then so I left that, and in some ways you look at what I did and it was impressive, in other ways it's not. I feel like it wasn't impressive, and that's probably all that matters. And then I started business because I can't get a job. And, I was asked this question, like, which is harder? And it's the business. When you're a platoon commander, people are already recruited for you, right? That's a hard thing to do. The money's already there. That's a hard thing to do. The culture's already embedded. Like, an army officer's job isn't to create a culture. The army literally has an ethos system that is ingrained into people. And one of the things that we learn is, like, you're not even allowed to talk unless the group starts to move together. So, it's like the easiest team to ever take over of people that generally actually want to be there. And when platoons go bad, it's because you're making people not want to be there. Like, there's always bad eggs, but that's predominantly the infantry. It's like you're not really dealing with people that don't want to do what you do. So you think of all of that, and then you go, you don't even have to worry about customers. Like 90% of the time, more, you're just training. Like, so you're like, the shop doors never open. So, like, all of those things, establishing a soul for a company with a lofty vision, don't have to do that. That's really hard to do. Figuring out who your customer is, don't have to do that. That's really hard to do. Figuring out what your commercial offer is to create extreme value for those customers, don't have to do that. Marketing that value, even if the market doesn't exist yet, that's really hard to do. Don't have to do that. Last but not least, like, learning how to sell, don't have to do that. Like, you have to tell people what's going on, and they literally have to follow the order.
Yeah.
So, like, all of those things I found were extremely hard. The one thing that was extremely useful, that is absolutely underestimated, I think, by people that leave the military, is the ability to gather intelligence. That's it. Like, I think if you're like, what's the one skill that a section commander or a squad leader or a platoon commander has that could help you start a business? Reconnaissance. Like, if you actually really think about that skill, it is an extremely valuable one in business.
Well, one thing you sort of said but didn't say, just to call it out a bit more, is like leading people for the vision. Like you know, like in a platoon commander, you get assigned a bunch of troops, and then they, even if they don't like it, they can't really quit. If they leave, then there's, you know, either desertion or you charge them.
Yeah.
So they're legally obliged to follow you. So I think that's another thing is getting people along for the mission, and makes it really difficult to do otherwise. So fast forward to, I guess, getting the funding, going big, going fast. You know, I've heard, we've spoken at length about a lot of things that didn't work for you. Some of the things that did. I guess, what did it feel like at the time, and how did you go through that?
It feel like it almost felt like every 6 weeks was state of origin. Yeah.
From the training perspective or from the fan perspective?
From the player.
Right.
But you were playing state of origin like every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And so you had like this huge sort of like rivalry, and then focus on performance, and this mashing together of new people, because every time it's like a new team, and it's not a team that plays together. And then you'd sort of have this huge dopamine hit, and then it'd hit you in the face, and then you'd have to win. And like some series you win astronomically, but most series it's like a nail biter. And so you go from like this high performance athlete to like wallowing in sorrow, and then because you either lost and you couldn't afford to lose, or like you won and now you've stopped feeling like that.
So why every 6 weeks?
Because that's the pace that we were moving at.
So I thought it might have been timed with like some KPI from the investor or something. So like a self-imposed schedule of...
It was just what, like, we had a sort of thing on our whiteboard that was like, make 20 million, then build a company.
Yeah.
And it's because it was just how quick the market moved around talent, and how quick you had to move to get over the valley of despair. It was like, we've got to get out of Australia. We've got to get past the valley of despair. And we're going to be an enterprise software as a service. And so the speed of the market came from two things. If you don't grow fast enough, you generally don't drive a movement. And you can create a movement but go slow, as long as you don't take outside investment. But we'd already taken that jump, so like we were effectively on a race. Like, we have to go now. And the second, like, so you have to create a movement. If you create a movement, you attract A-grade talent. They come find you. And like, once you get to a certain like amount, that's pretty much what you need. Like, you just have to become really great at recruitment of those key people that can add that stackable value and run systems. And so you need speed for that, because like everyone's thinking, these fuckers might actually do it. And so like, if you get looking for those people that are looking like jump forward their career but know they're extremely valuable, that's the only time they jump, because it's like a safe bet, but it's also the wild card becomes a reality. And so that's the first speed. And then the other speed is like the speed, you have to outrun the large fragmented monopolies running distractions. And so like, you know, if you start to sell large enterprise software, it is a fragmented market of very few players and their system integrators. And they just have a lot more money than you. And the talent's generally worse from an entrepreneurial perspective, so they don't really suggest anything new. And so like, they can just run a whole campaign with you. It's like, hey, like, these guys are just new, don't do that. So the only way that you can overcome that campaign, because you have limited resources, you can't wait them out. You have to maneuver so fast into their geographical market, into that customer base, that you knock the customer so far open that forces them to work with you. I can give you an example, like Workday, SAP, SuccessFactors, all of those large firms which made so much sense to put an API into our software, never. Would never let us.
You're right.
Why would they? Like, that's just a pure example of like value-wise, hugely valuable to their customers. All their customers wanted to buy it. Would have made it super scalable. But in their eyes, it was like, nope. You know, we don't have an investment in you. We don't know who you are. And it could be, you could reset the whole tech stack. So we're not going to let you in.
Right. Well,
that's why you need that speed, man.
Yeah. I always found those behemoths hard to work with anyway, because unless you can bring them 20 million a month, they don't want to know you. Yeah,
there's a little bit of that, but it's like you like one of your only leverage, sort of one of your only things as a smaller company is speed. And so, but like you can't just speed. You have to speed past, take ground, and route where they are. And so, like that's why it was like that. And I probably could have done it a different way. But I don't know if I don't know if I would have chose a different way. And I also don't know if that's true. I think there are very few companies that can make breakthroughs like that that don't come out of Silicon Valley. Like I think Silicon Valley just incubates your idea, it distributes it for you, and so by the time you're playing that enterprise game, you're playing it with pretty well-funded pockets and like 10,000 customers. Whereas we were like 7 customers and running out of money, and with investors that don't actually generally back any venture bets. Because not many come from Australia.
Well, I think that, you know, you don't hear these sorts of conversations in Australia typically. So normally when people are talking about business, they're talking about the minutiae of, you know, like staff and systems and mindset and all that sort of stuff, but they're not really talking about strategic players against aggressive partners who are trying to block you. So
yeah,
I think that
I had a partner that went around Canberra and called my company "fuck you, fuck me," like repeatedly as a reputational campaign to stop us winning business in Canberra.
Well, yeah,
like that's what they were doing. Like they couldn't think of anything else.
Well, but that's in Australia. Like I would imagine that. Well, I guess people play silly games in Australia because it's so small. Like there's not a lot of big enterprise in Australia.
They play silly games everywhere.
Yeah, even in the US markets.
Yeah, because you're the unusual one. They don't know who you are. You know, if you inhibit a large bureaucracy and you've been successful at it, you've probably got pretty effective at politics.
So politics is a skill that most new entrepreneurs need?
No, I don't think so. I think like if you're dealing with a large distributor that sells to your ICP and it's a corporation, just be aware that the people that you're dealing with, like that's one of their skills. And that is like a skill that, you know, can provide you a lot of value if they believe in your ideology. Or can fundamentally deny you markets because they play those types of games.
So earlier I mentioned some, I guess, military ethos, ideas, concepts holding me back. And one is you generally looking after like other people in the team or like being a little bit selfless and caring for other people. How many relationships have you had to burn? Well, I wouldn't say necessarily that you've burnt them, but like how many have turned bad or that not worked out the way that you think? Because I think...
Type of relationships.
Well, it might, you know, like sometimes you're going to piss off a customer. Sometimes you're going to piss off an employee. I can think of quite a few, but I probably wouldn't have approached it in the same in the military sense.
It's a tough question. How many relationships have I kept?
That's probably a nicer way to ask it.
Probably 4. The rest I've burnt.
Okay.
And I am absolutely ashamed about it.
So, is it out of necessity or is it out of...
It's an even better question.
Something else.
Maturity.
Okay.
Will. You know, that almost unstoppable willpower destroys a lot of relationships. So you keep going and you just don't care. Doubt. Self-doubt. And honestly, like, protection. Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes caring what other people think can hold you back. Like, for the most part, people don't understand.
Yeah, I think I didn't care enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like when I say protection, it was like, my trust was very low. And I'd been around an environment where my trust was very high. And I'm almost too sensitive. So I'm sort of, another way of putting it, my heart was broken so many times that I just was like, you have to earn my trust. I'm not going to give it to you. And it was the wrong way to be.
Well, it's very true in the military sense, because you're supposed to be in a high trust environment. You're supposed to rely on these other people that you may not have met directly. You haven't had the time to build up a rapport or relationship with them. If you meet them in the middle of a gunfight and they're wearing the same uniform, more than likely you have to rely on that person, even if you don't know their name. So if in the civilian world, when you're doing, things and you put that trust in people, and I've felt the same, where I've gone and trusted people and given them the benefit of the doubt, and I get absolutely screwed. Even one who was a reservist, the guy we bought an IT company off, turned around and poached clients within a month. So.
And how did you feel about that?
Well, very pissed off, because we paid the asking price and probably didn't screw them down as hard. We were a little bit more forgiving on certain terms.
So you felt like you were fair?
I felt like I was fair.
Yeah.
And maybe there's the other end of the spectrum is obviously being unfair, but is there one that's a little bit more slightly fair? So somewhere there's a spot in the middle that we should be trying to aim for.
Yeah, maybe. Or like maybe you can just be proud that you're the fair one.
That helps. Doesn't always help the bank account though.
I think it will in the long term.
I think so. I mean, we could have gone.
That's my belief.
Yeah. Well,
I could be wrong.
No, I took that approach with this particular instance where we could have spent 50 grand and going to court. And that probably just would have been the start of it, if we get anything back. But we decided to focus on the customers we had and just let it go. So I guess it's...
what did you learn about yourself when you made that decision?
Well, I don't know. I've had a lot... I guess it was a bit of a hard decision, and you take it personally and you feel quite frustrated. But realistically, if you think about the bigger, longer vision, do you really sort of shortchange yourself in the short term for a win? Like, it would have just been a vanity metric. These things happen all the time where people go and poach clients. Maybe next time I'll just put harder terms, or I think not harder terms, but the more like chess, where you've got staged gates to release certain things, to go, when this happens, that'll happen. When that happens, this happens. It's still fair, but obviously for both parties, it reduces the risk mutually.
Yeah, you're still fair, right?
Fair in a different lens, yeah.
Something to be proud of.
So
what do I think? Like, back to your question, like, why was I like that way? One of the things that is really interesting, and it connects to your first question, is the military tells you that you really can't show vulnerability in front of your men.
Yep.
And so I don't know if that's a good lesson. I think the lesson more is when we're in crisis and we need a cool head, you can't show like vulnerability until the job is done. But I took that literally. And I think to my detriment. Because I didn't know how to communicate to anyone, anytime, anywhere about what I was feeling. And I think that unraveled a lot of those relationships in a really bad way. And unfortunately, I think like the difference between the military and sort of running a high growth company is that it's the same, but it's not the same. So like in the military, it's like, yeah, we don't want to know what the boss is up to really. You know, like there's a very different line, you know, and I sort of experienced that going from soldier to officer. It was like, oh, okay. Like there is like a weirdness and a bit of a gap. But you know, most of that's just respect.
Power distance.
It's just respect too. It's just like, yeah, cool, you're in a different lane, dude. You know, see you later. Like, but like, that's interesting. You know, and then when you're in a running a company, there's no line of separation. Like there really isn't. Like it's like people they just see you places. Like you can't. And if they don't, they try to find out. Like there's like this weird, I don't know if it's a certain size of company it happens, but like people just some point, certain size of people with none of that sort of rank structure, like you can have like people in charge and stuff. They at some point, like businesses do have to deal with a gossip problem. And that's it. This is what it is. It's like, I don't know what happens, but you know, I know the military has a little bit of it, but not to the extent of running a company.
Well, they've got a predetermined structure, which there is no predetermined structure. You create the structure.
I also think businesses are just less exciting than the army. So like, it's like people are just a bit bored.
Well, if you were looking at, say, the structure of the average company, and like you internally in the company, you know the structure, but when you're trying to go out and talk to people, what happens? What do you do when someone thinks you're the pleb? They come across you and they go, they try to tell you how it is, and you're trying to have like a high level meeting with someone. I don't know if that's like in the pre-framing in the introduction, or if you like rock up to a networking event or something like that. How do you reset or reframe that?
For me?
Yeah.
I never thought that way. I've never thought, I can't have a say in any room I'm in. And I think my father is the reason for that. Not anyone else. So I've never really thought that way. I've probably indirectly or directly made people feel that way. And I shouldn't have. But I've never thought that way.
Okay. So,
like, why do you feel like if you're in the room, you can't ask whatever you want?
I don't know. Sometimes you feel like like when you go to a networking event, don't always feel comfortable going up to random people.
Oh, I never feel comfortable doing that.
Right.
But I think I'm more, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe like, maybe I don't get any energy from it.
Well, there's probably like some natural human dislikes that doesn't matter.
Probably.
That doesn't matter what you do. You're either going to have to overcome it or just deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hated it though. It like became like, it's like, there's just certain things that you hate to do, but you know you have to do. And so...
Like what?
Like quarterly business reviews suck. And having difficult conversations with customers in those suck. Hiring someone and then them ignoring their potential and responding to change with defensiveness sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Because like they're just right there and they can do it, and you just want them to succeed, and they're just not ready, or they'll never be ready, and that sucks. Not even from a money perspective, it just sucks. It just sucks because it's like something happened to them that's stopping them. And then, dealing with like lawyers.
That always sucks.
redlining things on other sides of the fence sucks. Outreach sucks, but it's a good type of suck. Like business development, you know, it's enjoyable, but it's still also something hard. And you know, I think the biggest thing that sucks is just sticking with it. Yeah, I think that's the thing that sucks the most.
So I guess fast forward to now, what's going on?
Well, you know, I think at a really simple level, what we're showing founders how to do is be courageous in a market. It's like at a fundamental level. It's like, how do we help people to get told they're wrong so much and that it won't work? That the reason it's not working is you're not courageous enough to the people that are telling you you're wrong. So like that's the fundamental concept. And then at like a really, you know, for want of a word, like application layer level, it's like, can we create an investment bank that is just a distribution network of people where the main transaction is partnership, not acquisition or investment? And if we do that well enough, does it change the way that capital flows to entrepreneurial ventures? And our sort of vision is really simple. We want the value creators, those that create value, to own that system, not the value extractors that know how to administrate systems owning it. And that's how it's currently built. You know, you've got angel investors that got their money by being high-performing C-suite executives in systems, most of them. And like, that's great, you're good at it, but you never build a system. So what do you know what you're looking for? And so why are you giving advice? You can give us the money, but those other two things, that stops a lot of early checks. And then you've got like venture capitalists where they've got people that want to be professional investors, and you know, the majority of the market has just forgotten that they're gamblers. Like it's like they're not turning up to work knowing they're a gambler. They're turning up to work thinking that they're making some form of low risk private equity investment, and you know, they should never lose their money. It's like, well, that's not venture capital. That's something else. And so then the next group of guys and girls is like people in private equity, which is like, we're going to take money from pensions and borrow debt to buy businesses we can't afford to sell them to people that should never buy them after we've gutted all the value out.
Yeah, use it as a vehicle to extract as much as possible.
So they're your options. And you know, your last option is getting like a credit note from a bank or a line of credit. But if your business is in any way unconventional, or you don't have a house, which you probably had to sell to start the thing if you did have one, no one's going to give you the money. So they're the people that dominate the entrepreneurial literature. They dominate all from a very small ecosystem on the west coast of Australia, the US. And I just think there needs to be a whole change in the balance of power between those that just know how to extract value, controlling all the toll gates, to those that know how to create it. Like, I've never met a happy entrepreneur that had become an investor. Haven't met one.
No, you have that fire in your belly.
I've met ones that are sort of invest in people but still build their companies. But I've never met one that's like, sold my company, now I just invest. None of them are happy. Are there people that do it? Yep, it's a definite route. None of them are happy. Because that's not what they do.
Yeah,
they're not
driven.
They don't sit on the sidelines telling people how to do shit.
Yeah.
It's not part of who they are. And they hated everyone that did it to them. So and that's pretty much where they get sent to. Or they have like the few astronomical ones that just go through the whole thing and just tell everyone to fuck off. But that's not a scalable model for everyone. You know, you can't all be Musk or any of those guys. That not everyone can reach that level. You know, you sort of have to give everything up and more, multiple lifetimes of it to get there. And so I don't think it's the choice. You know, I don't think the choice is that or being a disgruntled investor. or not even getting there. And like, they're your choices right now. Like, think of it this way. Why the fuck is an entrepreneurial show called Shark Tank, where the idea is to get a better deal on the entrepreneur? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I like Elon Musk's concept of we should have a business warming.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a good idea. Like, why are people excited by the idea of one entrepreneur screwing another entrepreneur in public?
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, it's just a weird concept.
Like where they've been called out on some occasions where they're trying to come up with a really shitty deal on the spot, and then they're like, this is like 200% interest or something like that.
But that is like the architect of, like, that is like the, unfortunately, whether anyone likes it or not, it's like the oracle of entrepreneurship. Like, if people point, like, and you've got like these new guys coming up, and power to them for doing it, but like, that's still, like, even the Diary of the CEO guy, he's on Shark Tank now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, what they're all great. They've probably all been great entrepreneurs, but like, we shouldn't be accepting that we're better than that.
So we need a new show.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. I think encouragement and partnership is a path that entrepreneurs struggle with, because they do a lot of the journey alone, which is, so they're not good at partnership. But it could completely unlock a lot of their value. And encouragement, like, they just don't get much, so they don't apply it.
So what do you like about what you're doing now?
It's hard.
You like that it's hard?
Yeah. It's a truly complex problem. And the players are like active. Whereas like when you're selling software to a big system, it's like, you know, sort of like throwing rocks at a dormant dragon, you know, like they're asleep. It's like, no fucking way. Like you watch Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, where he's like running around the dragon with the sort of invisible one. Like, we're going to get the gold, but like, that's what it's like. This is like How to Train Your Dragon, that kid's show. Like, everyone's got a fucking dragon, everyone's flying around, and then there's that big mega dragon that wakes and tries to kill her. Like, that's what this problem is. Because I think those that it's one of the reasons I enjoyed living in New York. It's good to watch them, and they are very good at what they're doing. They know what they're doing it, and they have a whole culture of doing it. And they're much more sophisticated than my last market. So, and then the founders themselves are all like these unique characters. So it's the problem then becomes three-dimensional. So you're not just dealing with this chessboard. You've then got this melting pot of individuals that, if they go far enough, they're so different from everyone else. And that's a great thing, but it makes the problem again more complex. So the only way to solve it is to just be getting better and better at it. When you're selling to entrepreneurs with a huge complex problem and a transformational change, you can't blame it on them that they're not open-minded. You know, they are like the most open-minded and the fastest movers. So if they're not moving fast and creating value with what you're doing, then it's your problem. Whereas in a software company, it's like, yeah, well, you didn't do the training, you didn't use the tool. You know, it's not your full job.
Scripted.
Whereas these guys are like hungry, driven users. It's like, this is their life. They have to make it happen. They're open to new things, so they're not going to not experiment. And they don't have much time to make it happen. And so like, you have to be like, from a pure like entrepreneurial challenge, yeah, like they're really hard to sell to. They're really hard to fulfill. But they're easy to acquire, which is different to selling to them. So once they know the value, they're easy. But then you help them go into this really complex scape that they're now seeing differently. So yeah, it's like, this is the hardest problem I've experienced.
What do you not like about what you're doing?
I'm grateful for what I'm doing.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm in the bonus round, man. I shouldn't be here.
No negatives?
Just the time away. Like it's taking longer than I thought it would.
Molding human minds.
But way faster than my first business. So.
Yeah. Molding human minds generally takes a bit of time.
Yeah. I think encouragement requires patience. And it sounds really obvious when you say it. Like real encouragement is like staying in. And, you know, I always thought starting was hard. And I think most of the entrepreneurial books, like just start. But like sticking with it is way harder.
Yeah.
And like there's sometimes you want to like, you know, grab these founders and just smack them around a little bit. Like it's just like, hey, like, you know, I've been there. But that doesn't work. It's like, you know, look, I'm in it with you. So what do you want to do? Is a question to learn that I didn't think I'd use again after the military. But it's sticking with it is really hard. But that's where the encouragement is built. It's not. It's not sort of like celebrating wins. Founders don't like wins. They like skills, and they like once they get through something, when things become clear, they really like that. So if they get a skill and then things become clear, it's like better than anything else for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they figure out the value of all of that, and then they look at all the time they wasted, and so. They don't worry about the time they wasted either. They sort of go, well, and this is really interesting about founders that I've seen that are good ones. They'll go, oh, at least I won't waste that time again. And that's why I like them.
Yeah. For the ones that listen anyway.
I think they all listen. I think they learn. They know they have control over how they learn. And most people learn differently, but most people never realize. But founders know how they like to learn.
Yeah, because like all of business is learning and figuring out what works, what doesn't, what happens next.
It appears to be that way.
So I think we've covered a lot of good stuff. Is there anything you want to ask me while we're here? Play out our reverse interview.
When are you excited the most as an entrepreneur?
Probably like, it sounds cheesy, but the impact that you have on the client. Because like when I've had people jump out of their chair and like shout woohoo because we've saved them 100 hours doing something, putting some automation in or something, and then that's like, it's a huge weight off their shoulders. So I like the output of that when we're actually quite successful, or you know we've been able to impact that, they've been able to do several other things which they couldn't do before, or something like that. So I mean, part of that is why I've done the community, because we can help people see things they can't see or do things they can't do, and then mostly through the consulting piece. So yeah, like you said, founders know how they want to learn, and they know what they unlocks, and they probably want to do more of that. Because I know when we acquired the IT company, that there was plenty of tasks I didn't want to do that I just absolutely hated, because that's very reactive, and my business partner loves that, so that's him. But for me, it's more like proactive and experimenting and planning and building, and then have the output of that. That's probably the most exciting thing. I think most founders, unless you get stuck in a problem you can't get out of, they're doing the things they want to do anyway. That's why they've built the company.
And is there anything about how you've behaved as an entrepreneur that surprised you about yourself? Like, did that being so fair on that deal when it came to the crunch, did that surprise you?
Well, no, like that's, I guess, more my nature.
Okay.
So,
sorry to load you, but like, has anything surprised you?
Well, sometimes when something doesn't go the way you want it to, and if you feel you have to, make amends or make it right, but sometimes it's not always feasible, or, like, for example, when you work with a lawyer, they always want to know, like, as a client, they always want to know how much you're insured for, because they're looking to, at some point, maybe try and sue you and then take your house or your insurance money. Mm-hmm. Just the concept of that, I find yuck. So I try not to work with lawyers. But there are people that operate that way. And, sometimes you almost have to go, well, fuck them. Like, you're on your own, you're not getting any, like, love from me or something like that. And not follow through the way you thought you would, because they're either just trying to squeeze you more for everything, rather than, they're not being fair. Mm. And so at some point you have to be the unfair one as well to draw that line.
Right. Okay. And do you think you have a strong partnership with your business partner?
Yes.
What makes it strong?
Well, I guess there's that sort of military bond, and
okay.
But also, like, we can go not talk for 3 months, come back together, and we'll have made exactly the same decisions. Or at least if we talk about it and say, well, I would have done this, but I see what you did and why. So there's, like, implicit trust there. And then, so when we first started working together, he was in Sydney, I was in Brisbane. We worked the first 3 years without seeing each other face to face because of COVID. Then he had a baby, then he snapped his ankle, then the COVID lockdowns again. So for a long time, we couldn't get either way. And when we eventually caught up again, by that time we had several staff. I think we turned over $1 million at that point, cumulatively. And again, it was just, we sort of just fell into it, really. But I'm very lucky. I don't think many other people have that sort of relationship.
Right. Do you think you could have done it without a partner like that?
It would be a lot slower, and I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Right. And, looking back, what's one thing that you wish you hadn't done so far on your journey?
Well, there's more than one.
The worst one.
Let's see. So, I mean, I don't really see it as a loss or a negative thing, but sometimes, invested in certain things or spent certain money and then it went nowhere, or we reversed a decision that was quite a large one. Mm-hmm. But I don't always take them as bad. They're just experiments.
Okay.
Can't think of anything else.
Okay.
Unless there's an example.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess then, where's, like, the loftiest vision of where you're going, do you think? Where are you going to take this?
So I have a 5-page document that I've written with the team. Right. So in the next 10 years, we want to have 300 staff and 300 million revenue and be listable, which now I'm realizing I need a lot more money.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, I went to the launch of the Texas Stock Exchange.
You did?
The other day.
That's cool.
I don't know if it was the launch. It was like they were talking about it being launched at the university.
Right. Okay.
But they said you need $900 million revenue, and that's US dollars, and you also need a 200 million minimum market cap.
Yeah. Well, ASX has got some different rules, but yeah.
True that. Yeah. No. Well, I mean, listable. I don't necessarily want to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
But we want to be in a position where if someone wanted to acquire us and then make that happen, then that would just boost valuation.
Okay, cool. And in terms of impact on the world of entrepreneurs who you've fondly lent into, what's the lofty dream there?
Well, I don't ever really see myself exiting. Okay. So it's probably more just do more of the same. Like if I'm building, do you mean like in terms of the community or?
Yeah, the community.
Well,
where are you leading this tribe to, mate?
Well, I'm trying to get the community to a point where it can lead itself and it isn't dependent on me. Yeah. And I think I know what I like, I know what I don't like, and I want to do better. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm trying to create an environment where I would feel comfortable going forever and a day. Like there's one guy in our community, he's 70, He's still
Really?
he just loves doing networking. All he does is rock up, connect people. That's his life. That'll probably be me one day.
Really?
Well, you know,
cool.
like, again, I can't sit on my hands. I can't sit around waiting. I'm not going to just cash out and become an investor.
Yeah.
I'm going to be connecting people, building relationships.
And if there was like one sort of like behavior that your community could adopt from your entrepreneurship journey tomorrow, what would it be?
Think about strategic connections. So don't just think about the person in front of you. You know, when you walk in and it's like a sales shroud, they've got this artificial persona, and then you ask some jarring question and they get off their line of comment or question, and then you get into a new point. That's when you go, I'm having a real conversation. Just get to that faster.
Sounds like you want to get to humans faster.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's probably a wrap.
Yeah, man. I think I appreciate you coming to see me.
Well, I had to go a long way to come to Melbourne.
That's pretty funny.
It's just up the road.
It is true. I really admire you. You're someone that's that I look up to as a founder for sure.
Likewise, I think I don't know.
You're a real entrepreneur, dude. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I hold back, or like I'm bothering you or wasting your time.
No.
So when when getting set up here, I was trying to be quick for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you don't need to be. You know, I admire you because you built it all from zero. You've almost lost it multiple times. And you're in the arena doing it better than most. And, you know, I really admire people that actually enjoy it. And you enjoy it.
I've shaped it so I enjoy it. I didn't always enjoy it.
Right.
Like,
That's good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess you got to feel the pain to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great.